episode of Channel 914. I'm your host, as always, Rail Allen. And today I have another esteemed guest, man. We here once again in the Connect Gallery at the Mac Blagic. I always want to say it the other way. The Mac Blagic experience, man. My man Ugg got a beautiful artwork in here, man. It's been a whole experience. He's been in here for the whole month of February. We are about to get out of here. By the time this comes out, he'd probably be gone. But, you should have been here. If you missed it, man, you missed out on some really, really dope art, but you can always find it on, what's the name of your website, bro? Buy Sankofa Waters. Buy Sankofa Waters. You got shirts, you got merch, you got artwork, all that shit is for sale. Support black art, buy black art, all that other shit. But we also have another artist, a man to my left, is a consummate artist, man. He makes music. He's into fashion, design, man. A very fashionable brother. You can see it, man. He got the motherfucking the coat on with the scarf and shit. You know what I'm saying? Got the glasses on. My man Cornell, aka Surfboard C, the artist formerly known as Super Toy.
What's up?
Saying pleasure, man. I gotta give you the motherfucking.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you having me on, man.
Hey, man. I appreciate you coming through, man. It's been a while, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's only right.
Yeah. Well, luckily, man, we was able to connect a few weeks ago. And here, once again in the gallery, man, coming in here to see all this impressive work that he got going on, man. And so I'm glad we was able to finally get together.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It makes sense, man. When you walked in, I was like, oh, this is dope.
Yeah.
It's been too long.
It's been a long time, man. Do you remember? You remember where we met?
Yeah, it's funny. I was just thinking about that, man. It was at the post-production.
Yeah, Avenue Edit.
Intern,
Yeah. We was fucking interns.
Yeah.
At a post-production studio that is no longer here.
Shame.
Yeah, man. That was dope, too. It was a really, really dope space.
Yeah, I was thinking about that, man. Just like the access, to all the resources. Like for us to, what I'm saying, just like to have amazing experience, man. I wish it would have went on and turned into like some bigger shit, but
yeah, man. I really thought I was gonna be like a post-production engineer. I remember just sitting in there and they would give you access to reels and all that huge sound effects library, man. I would just go in there. Yeah, and I ain't did no shit like that since.
Amazing times, man.
Hey, man, yeah, man. But that's crazy. That was like 15 years ago now, man.
Yeah,
that was 2008, year Obama got elected.
It was.
Man.
Because I remember I was working over there, and I went to the event, like when he was like, it wasn't the inauguration, but it was like the night he won. It was.
It was in Millennium Park.
Yeah.
That was some niggas had hope, man. Motherfuckers thought the world was gonna be different, and look at us now, man.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah, man. But man, so I just want to ask you, man. You do a lot in terms of artistry, man. Like I said, you make music. You into fashion. You into design. You know what I'm saying? You get. I'm sure you get inspiration from various places.
Yeah.
But where's your heart, man? Like which one is your favorite? Do you have a favorite? Can you pick just one? Like if you could only do one, and you couldn't do any more.
Ooh, if I could only do one, probably just be like the music. You know what I'm saying? Like writing and recording, producing. I like being in studio.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm really, if I could only do one thing, it would be that. You know what I'm saying? But big picture, it just all comes from like being a kid in like my basement and shit, and just imagining a world. I created like a world in my basement as a kid, you know what I'm saying? And I just look at the world like that, like, man, it's just like a line that I'm just kind of like on, you know what I'm saying, like since I was a kid. And when I deviate from that, I'm not happy, and when I'm on it, I'm good. So I just stick with that.
Okay, so there are times that you go away from the music and you have to come back, like it really affects how you live.
Yeah, for sure. And just being creative in general, like, times when maybe I'm working a job that it wasn't the most like creative shit or what I really want to do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It might put me in like a weird place or whatever. But that's just a part of like, you know what I'm saying, the journey. Now I'm older, I look at it like, oh, this is just like a line that I'm supposed to be on this, you know what I'm saying? So, because I like my cousin and I, like we talk about that a lot, like these days, like just our childhood, being in the basement, just being creative and shit, and just, I just kind of like, I knew that's what I wanted to do, you know what I'm saying, for a living. So, Yeah, that's how I look at it.
So when did you first start, man? Like, when did you know, like, when you first, like, and not necessarily, obviously, I know we were all kids, you know what I'm saying? You do things, you grow up, man, like, you get on the inch. I remember niggas used to rap on instrumentals, like, you know, on breaks. I remember when that Outkast album first came out, and then they had the Players Ball reprise at the end with just the piano beat to ride out. You know what I'm saying? It was on like a minute and 30 seconds, man. The niggas went freestyle over that whole joint and try to put it on repeat. But when did you like, I'm gonna take this music serious. Like, I'm really gonna do this.
Oh man, it's kind of crazy. I think that was when I was like a teenager, cause it just happens like, you know, it's just like a day where shit just, you know, switches up. You know what I'm saying? So like my cousin and me, we had made like a tape, like in the house, and I was just kind of like, it's whatever, you know what I'm saying? But my cousin was like a dude, he's really popular and shit, like, you know, like around, you know what I'm saying? So he just played that shit. He took it to High Park one day.
Okay.
So he went to High Park High School, whatever. He took that shit and he played it for his friends, and I walked into the hallway, and it was just like a new. I'm saying, it was like, it's crazy. I was like,
niggas
a
looked
new
at you
nigga.
different.
Yeah, so they looked at me different. I was like, oh shit, like it just happened. It just happened, man, because I wasn't even planning on doing that shit, whatever. And so, yeah, it just changed everything. I was like, oh man, we should do this. And then,
I said, bitches like this shit.
yeah,
I'm gonna do
right, exactly. I'm like, oh, I'll get some hoes, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, I don't know, we lucked up, you know what I'm saying? We had like a relative who was like, he was like a musician and he worked in tech and shit. This is like, well, I'm saying like way back when, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't no black people in tech like that.
Not for real, yeah.
And this dude was like working in tech, so he had paper and shit, and he was like a musician, so he always was buying like equipment and shit like that. So he basically was like our mentor.
Oh, nice.
So I was like a teenager with like a mentor, you know what I'm saying? He had paper, you know what I'm saying? So we'd be at his house, like, you know, like working on shit. You know, he's teaching us about like production. And at that point, it was just kind of like, you know, like practicing anything else, like, like basketball or anything else. It was just like we putting in the reps. And after a while, you know, you look around at niggas and they rapping, and you just like, oh, we better than them.
Right,
you know what
yeah,
I'm saying?
yeah.
It's like we put in the work, like,
yeah.
So it just kind of went from there, man. Just, you know, it's you know, it's, if I could pinpoint a moment though, yeah, it's that moment, man, like in the hallway,
Yeah.
like at High Park, when I was like amazed.
Yeah, so then, but you started making beats again too, though.
Yeah.
So when did that start? When did you start actually with the production side of it?
Man, the production is crazy. I was always into it, but I was kind of, you know, just like in those days, it was like, you know what I'm saying, equipment was super expensive and shit, so I was just kind of like, whatever.
Expensive.
You know, we had a mentor. He would, you know, invite us over. Like I say, we, you know, work on his shit, but in terms of really, you know, making beats, it was like I went on a trip. I went on a trip to Miami with some homies and shit, and we came up through the A, like on the way back. So we was in like Atlanta and shit.
Okay.
And niggas was like, my buddy, his cousin was working for like, you know what I'm saying, LaFace or some shit like that. And so we was at their house and they was making beats on the computer. And I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
teach me the shit. So I was like, saying that, you know what I'm saying? At that point,
You remember what program it was?
probably was Acid.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah,
Acid.
so,
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? At that point, you know what I'm saying, like, you know, 21, I think.
Yeah.
And I see niggas making beats on the computer. I'm like, yo, and these is like, you know, these is like I said, this is like, you know what I'm saying, that's working for like LaFace.
Okay.
So these niggas is making beats like for big artists, like it's on the computer. I'm like, yo, what the fuck?
Yeah, just mind blowing.
Yeah, so you know what I'm saying, that blew my mind. So I went back and I got like the free version, like of Acid.
Okay.
And then I just kind of went from there.
Yeah, man, that's what everybody had. Acid was one. Fruity Loops.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Where, I remember Logic was real big for a second. Was it Reason?
I like Reason too, yeah.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Eventually people graduate to like the Abletons and you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I work with at the moment, like Ableton, like always. And like Serato. Serato has like some shit like a beat making.
Oh,
like
word.
That's really dope. Yeah.
I didn't even know that. I didn't even know that.
That's just pretty sick.
So you ever use it for DJing? Did you ever get into that part of it or no?
Not with the Serato. I would DJ a little bit, but I wouldn't really. I don't know. For me, it was more like a taste thing. You know what I'm saying? Like I knew what songs to play at the right time.
Right, because you kind of like to curate playlists.
Yeah,
too, right? I remember you had that was a Tried to Tell playlist for a while. I was following. I used to put me on to some nice little joints.
That's what's up.
I also noticed like during the pandemic, you were like putting playlists together.
Yeah, I made a playlist because I felt like I was at home a lot. I mean, like everybody else and shit like that. But the music was pumping. I was like, man, that was like the one thing, like, you know what I'm saying, got me through. So, I was, I like to, I don't know, like put people on and shit, for one. And just two, I just feel like I have like, I don't know, like a gift for, I'm able to hear something and I can kind of like see like the journey that the artist is going to take, like immediately. It's just like a gift I have. I mean, I don't know. It maybe comes from like when I was like a kid. Like I said, I'd be in my basement with the records and shit. I was just always into like, I don't know, man. Like, just like, just the music in general. So yeah, hell yeah, I love that shit.
Yeah, man. And I also noticed, man, because you do a lot of design with like clothing. And there's also something I noticed around that time, man. You had like almost like a little bit of a campaign where you had the shirts that say "Black people invented surfing." So I wanted to ask you, man, like what inspired that? Like what made you want to put that out there?
Man, I'm Surfboard C. You know what I'm saying? And that shit is like, like the history of that shit is cool. But it's crazy because, it's movies and books about that shit or whatever.
I remember The Roots narrated a documentary about, I can't remember the name of it, but I remember watching it back in the day.
Yeah, so it was just kind of like, but, like big picture, that's like a placeholder, you know what I'm saying, for everything, if that makes sense. You know
Okay, I got you.
Like, black people invented
everything.
You know what I'm saying? So
everything is cool.
Right, yeah.
All that shit that you like. Yeah. Black people invented that shit.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, sorry to tell you. Well, not sorry for real. I mean, white people know. Y'all be, and they know too. It's okay, and it's all right. We brought it to the world.
Right.
We didn't hold it for ourselves. We ain't selfish.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? We civilized the world. That's what the Renaissance was, in case you didn't know.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? That was the Moors going up. You know what I'm saying? There would be no enlightenment if it wasn't for the Moors going up through Spain and into Europe. But that's a whole other conversation for another day. We don't want to get. I don't want to get canceled on here. You know what I'm saying? You say too much. What Paul Mooney say? They'll take your show, nigga. They'll fix you. They'll fix you too.
Hell yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But you said Surfboard C, right? But you used to go by the name Super Toy.
Yeah.
And I always thought that was a really cool fucking name.
Thanks, yeah.
And I never asked, I never got the chance to ask you, so I'm gonna ask you now. Where did that name come from? Like, I was always super curious as to what made you come up with that.
Okay, Super Toy. It's originally from a book.
Okay.
But they adapted the book into a movie. Oh fuck, I can't think of what the movie is called. It was like a kid and he had this bear and the bear came alive. But basically,
talking about like, Teddy Ruxpin, nigga.
Yeah, a lot like that. A lot like that. But it was like, I don't know. It was like, it's hard. I forget what the movie is called, man. But I watched the movie. I'm like, okay, that concept is really interesting. You know, I'm saying, Super Toy. I'm like, oh, okay. And I'm like, okay, I'll rock with that. You know what I'm saying? I looked into it. I'm like, okay, this is like adapted from like a cool book about like the future. I'm like a futurist, like above anything else. You know what I'm saying? In terms of like, you could say I'm like a musician or like designer and shit like that, but I really identify as like a futurist, you know what I'm saying? So that was a big part of it. Like I just like identified with just like the whole like philosophy behind it. You know what I'm saying? And these days, like with like, the AI and everything, it's kind of all, it's all come to fruition, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's funny that you say you're futurist, man, because I always thought like your music and your style was like a little, you were always a little bit ahead of what people were doing. Yeah. So do you feel like that mindset, is that like what influences your style of music? Like if you had to describe your style, like your type of music, like, where would you put it? How would you label it?
That's interesting because, it changes. Like in time, it changes. So these days, therapeutic, I would say, what I'm saying? Like, a lot of the music I like is very like therapeutic. You know what I'm saying? Very zen.
Okay.
In terms of just like the music, the way I write, I would say, I don't know, it's realism, you know what I'm saying? Like, not really, it's a little bit like exaggerated or whatever, but that's just for like effect, you know what I'm saying? Like my writing is pretty honest. Yeah, I would just say therapeutic, man, you know what I'm saying? That's kind of like a weird way to like describe it, but
No, not at all.
That's the way I look at it. Yeah.
So you think is that like reflective of like where you are in life?
Yeah,
Like, in terms of like how like so like yeah, I mean, and as you grow, you have experiences, and obviously like as an artist, you express what I'm saying, what you feel, right, in various ways.
Yeah.
So now you feel like that's kind of where you are. Like, what do you think kind of led to that? Like, what brought you to that space?
I think I think hip hop originally is what I'm saying, aspirational, I should say, in terms of just like what it is and what it meant to people and shit. Like, it's really aspirational. So it's like I feel like in terms of just like I don't know, I guess like material or like experiences and shit like that, I like accomplished like a lot of shit that I wanted to.
Okay.
So these days, the music is more just like, real. Like I feel like in the past, like the Super Toy shit was just like, like the, I guess like the motives like behind it was like, I want this, I want these things, I want to experience these things, I want to like accomplish this and that. That was like the motive like behind Super Toy. And once I did it and began to be on the path, it changed the way I approach like the music I make and write,
That's interesting, man, because like a lot of times everybody defines success differently, especially when it comes to music and art. We live in a time of like clicks and views, streams, and all that other stuff, like metrics.
Right. Yeah.
Like
yeah.
everybody's real big on the metrics, man. But you saying like you've kind of accomplished a lot that you want to accomplish.
Yeah.
So I'm just interested, man. Like, so what is success? What does that look like to you? And do you look at yourself as a success, or do you feel like there's some things that you may have fallen short, or you feel like you still kind of along that journey?
I look at myself as a success, just off of like the energy of it all. Just saying I'm not like afraid to go after it. If you do that, you won already and shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? In terms of like, being in like the public eye and all that shit, like at one time I wanted all that. So maybe like that I didn't like accomplish, you know what I'm saying? Behind the scenes though, like the metrics and stuff like that, like writing for other artists and working with other artists, like I got all that, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like the numbers, you know what I'm saying? But it's more like, it's on the back end.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, but I know what I did. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The checks be coming and shit. So it's like,
and that's what really matters.
Right. Yeah. So it's like, all right, you know what I'm saying? But I don't know. But just in, big picture, like if you look at it right, like as like a genre, you know what I'm saying? Hip hop is like a new genre anyway. So it's like shit, man. I'm
relatively
so
in terms of like others, for sure.
Like relative to, so it's like, I don't know, man. The way I look at this shit, it's like the best is like ahead of me. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, what do you want in that time? You know what I'm saying? Like, in general, I'm like, I'm a type of person. I like, you know what I'm saying? I like to be able to like walk around. You know what I'm saying? Go to the museum.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
still have a level of anonymity
right,
where you can just be blend in.
Exactly. So it's like I'm that type of dude. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, man, being in a public eye in that way, it's cool. I mean, I get like the perks of it, but I guess in this period, that just isn't what I needed or wanted. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's funny because there are a few artists, man. So you brought to my mind a few examples of people I fuck with. So like you have somebody like Skyzoo, right? Prolific writer. And while he does have a fan base, Skyzoo, you can't say himself as an artist doesn't have like what you would call like a real commercial success, like in terms of like a lot of people knowing who he is. right? But the people that know him, and he's definitely well respected in the industry. He's written for tons of people, and so you could definitely say that in terms of like his career and what he's done with his art, Sky Zoo is successful.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's kind of like you don't always have to be in the limelight. You know, what's up? It's like it depends on what people are looking for. But then you have those people that still end up being in the limelight, but still want to have that level of anonymity. So you have people like MF Doom,
Right.
who always perform with a mask on.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You have I can forget his name, but the lead singer of Jamiroquai, you know, he'll always wear those hats. But he wore. I read that he wore those hats so if he could go out in public without the hat on. And nobody fucking recognizes him because they so used to seeing him with some big ridiculous ass fucking hat on.
That's perfect.
You know what I'm saying? So he just outside look like a regular guy. You know what I'm saying, with his hair out and shit, or wore a baseball cap. Nobody knows who he is, right? And that's not for everybody, man. You know, and I kind of feel that way myself a little bit, even though obviously. You know, this is very front facing.
I know you're putting yourself out there.
I'm putting myself out there, man. You know what I'm saying? It kind of like happened in a weird way, but you know, it's been working. So
that's dope, man.
Yeah, but I feel you in terms of like it would be weird if I just couldn't walk down the street.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Because I'm definitely more of a solo dolo mover type of person. So it's like. I know it would be weird to have like people just coming up to me and shit.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying,
bro? Like,
but I do want the money though. That's the thing. I want the. You know what I'm saying? I want that part of it. You know, I just don't always want to like deal with the public in that way. You know what I'm saying? But it's kind of like one of those trade-offs of which you can't have one without the other. But in terms of like in where you are, you can kind of have that. You know, because just like even when like you're talking about, you have people that ghost write, like Sky Zoo. You have so many people that ghost produce.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That have made and written things that have made things for people, and you may not ever know their name.
Right. Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And it kind of like, but if they've been able to accomplish these things, would you consider them a success still? Right?
Yeah.
I mean, but it all depends on them and what they want. You know.
Right.
You have what was that? What was that woman that I forget her name? But you know, remember CNC Music Factory? And it was like all those dance records she was singing on, but nobody would ever use her, like, because she was a bigger woman.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So whenever it'd be the videos come out, it would be some little skinny model-esque, you know what I'm saying? But she would actually be the one singing on these songs, right? And you know, but she wanted that acclaim, and she wanted, but you can kind of understand in that way because, like, okay, like. You're using my voice, but you don't want my face to be present. Right. You know what I'm saying? You don't want that whole part of me. So I don't know, and it's kind of like weird how some people have that talent but don't want the world to see them, but they still want their art to be available. But then you have those people that necessarily don't even care so much about the art. Right. Right. And all they really want is to be seen and to be known. And they feel like one of the quote unquote maybe easiest ways to do that is to be in music.
Yeah, or be in front of people, like, yeah, but you know, I don't know, man. It's like, it's really all about like the individual, you know what I'm saying, too. Like, cause it's people who do have like a level of like, you know, I guess, facing like the public and people will say this person is a success, but in their mind it's not enough. You know what I'm saying? Or it's people who just say, oh well, I'm known by all these people, but it's not the right people. I want to be known by this group. So it's people who are just not happy with the shit, like regardless. So it's not even, I don't know, man. It's no, I guess I broke free from that, from looking at like the metric of what like defines success, because it's really up to you. And, you know, as a person, it's like you have to be like content with who you are above all else. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying? For me, that's just how I look at it. And I feel like, you know what I'm saying, this shit changes and evolves. Like, I mean, I definitely would say at this point, I'm going through a transition, you know, to where, you know, I see like the value in, you know, being a bit more in the public eye, you know what I'm saying? And just how do it's, the way I look at it is like, how do like I leverage that? Okay. You know what I'm saying? To my benefit. But yeah, man, it's just I don't know. It's up to the individual, man. You got to be content with who you are as a person, and then rock. You know what I'm saying? Because if not, like you never be happy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and you definitely can't fucking please everybody. And it's funny that cause you see like a lot of people now. So you say hip hop is still kind of like a relatively new genre, right? But I feel like we've really passed the point where it's just like you kind of got like mass produced hip hop.
Yeah.
Where it's just like people are really necessarily like not even doing they following a formula. Like, you know, there's like a Drake formula.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. There's like a Migos formula. You know what I mean? It's just like, you know, like to those that, you know, those certain people once with like a little baby, people like that.
Yeah.
It's just like those people are successful and then people want to emulate them. So I'm just curious, man, because you've been doing this for a while.
Yes, I was
And
like a
you've,
teenager.
yeah, since you were a teenager, man, you've seen it like coming up through the 90s, early 2000s, and now here we are in 2023. So I'm just curious to like what your opinion on how the state of music currently, what it is. You know what I'm saying? And like how are the lines kind of blurred between that and how you also have to not only be an artist but kind of like also be like a content creator.
Right. Yeah. That's what they say. I mean, I don't know. I feel like it's access. You know, that's a big part of it. You know what I'm saying? The tech, so it's more music out because it's more access. Like to make music. Like I say before, people complain about all that, but as you can see, a minute ago, I'm like, yo, I'm in the A. I see niggas making beats on the computer. That changed everything for everybody.
Yeah,
so
it
it's
did.
like,
It did.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like you can't be, you know. I'm not mad at it. You know what I'm saying? It's more access to niggas. I'd rather a nigga be, you know what I'm saying, working on rap music than be out here running around, saying, doing whatever. So it's like, it's kind of crazy. You know what I'm saying? I know people complain a lot about where the music is and microwave is what they call it, microwave music and shit like that.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. It's like I feel like it's good in a way because it's like music for everybody. So it's no one. I don't know. It's like the metric used to be okay, Billboard or this or that. But these days it's like it's no one way like to quantify like what's the hottest shit.
Right, because and so much because it used to be like you said it was real easy like who you selling albums, right? Like people are literally going to the fucking store and they're buying albums, right? And then you got to the point where like you had the Napster era and LimeWire, and then people started they were bootlegging and downloading, right? But then you had to like iTunes became a thing. People are now you're downloading songs of iTunes. You're still essentially paying for it.
Right, essentially. Yeah.
But now nobody's really fucking paying for music.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like nobody's buying it. So and people are really only paying in streams, by streams. You know what I'm saying? And you have your Spotify's. And you have basically you have Spotify and Apple Music, right?
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Come on.
And they're getting for every 1,000 streams you may get like a penny or some shit. You know what I'm saying? Or something less than a fucking penny. So in terms of how do you approach that in terms of like trying to still be able to necessarily make money from it? You know what I'm saying? Like what do you think, or how do you try to like monetize your art? Or is that part even still really important to you?
Yeah, I mean, I like to do good business, so in that sense, yeah. I mean, the best thing to do, and this is just in general, like with anything, it's just like control as much, as possible in terms of like the IP, like control your music, you know what I'm saying? I'm seeing artists who I like a lot, who like, yo, I was on like, you know what I'm saying, like, label, a big label.
Right.
You know what I'm saying, like, the contract is up. I'm putting out my own albums now. It's like, okay, boom, like, what's the real difference? You know what I'm saying, like, to like, you know what I'm saying, to like the public eye, like, what's the difference? It's on Spotify anyway.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, that to me is the way, like, control as much as you can, you know what I'm saying, write as much as you can of like your own shit. To make the most of it. I don't know. It's cool. It's like, I don't know. It's different though for everybody. It's no one way of looking at it, right? Because if you're like a bigger artist who's been around for like a while and you have like, like a deep catalog, if you think about it, the old shit, in the previous way, it wasn't gonna make no money anyway. People not gonna buy it. Anyway, so it's kind of like, so these days, if you a bigger artist with like a deep catalog, it's like you still making money off that shit from way back then. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know, man. It's money in streaming. It's money in streaming, man. It's just like, it's just different for everybody, And the labels are doing weird shit. You know what I'm saying? But they go fix that shit one day, man.
Think so?
That's how I look at it, man. Like the government is gonna get involved and fix that shit. It's craziness.
So when you say that, expound on that, man. What do you mean? You think the government is going to get involved?
I mean, just in general, like a lot of shit that happens in the music business is like, what I'm saying, the law. That isn't just like a contract you sign. It's like, oh, this is the law. Like the government, it mandated that if you write the song, you make this much or whatever the fuck. That's just like the
copyright
law.
laws say certain things.
It's like at a point, the government is going to get involved in like the new way of doing music, and they're gonna be like, yo, this shit is unfair. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
The labels are buying into like the platforms and dictating the payout.
Yeah.
Because they'll take, what I'm saying? It's like, okay, well, if we could dictate the payout, we're good because we, what I'm saying, like part owner of this shit anyway. So it doesn't matter.
It's funny that you mentioned that, because isn't that lawsuit, that Black Sheep?
Yeah,
was the head of so they're basically trying to expose that, where basically like the labels entered into these sweetheart deals with streaming services, with basically, like you said, Spotify and Apple Music, and to kind of like really like basically to get ahead of it and make sure they are able to like really turn profits and in turn like really like fuck the artist, which is pretty much how it always works.
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah. So I mean that kind of is the beginning of that, right?
Yeah, it's the beginning. It only takes one act, and then a bunch of the older acts, I'm sure they'll get involved in the suit, and then it's gonna.
Oh yeah, if it gains traction, people gonna throw their name on that suit. You know what I'm saying? It can become a really big class action. So I'm actually interested to see where that goes, man, because that could be huge.
Oh yeah,
that could be huge.
Yeah, it may change everything. It may change the whole industry, the whole game. So yeah, like I say, it's only a matter of time. You know what I'm saying? This shit it's ridiculous.
Yeah. So what do you with your music now? You say like you feel like there's money in streaming, right?
Yeah, it's money in streaming.
So how do you approach the streaming? If you don't mind sharing that.
The way I approach it, like I say, I just try to like write as much of my own shit as possible, and you know what I'm saying, like produce as much of my own shit or whatever it is. Just like control it. You know what I mean? I mean, it's cool, but it's it's in terms of the way the music is applied within that, you know what I'm saying, world. It's out of your control, like in many ways. So I don't know. You really have to make the best shit that you can make. And I don't know, the thing that people are doing too, which is really smart, is make like a bunch of music. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just an algorithm. So the more music that you put into it, you know what I'm saying, the better opportunities that you have. You know what I'm saying? With the playlisting and all that stuff. Yeah. It's endless. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I feel like Currency kind of really mastered that.
Oh yeah.
Just like high volume. You know what I'm saying? Like this nigga's like the Allen Iverson of music. He just gonna take a million fucking shots and they may not all go in.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But he gonna get his points.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like he gonna have 30 at the end of the night. Now he may have taken 50 fucking shots to get there. You know what I'm saying? But and he still look good doing it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, AI obviously is still considered one of the greatest scorers in the history, and just like Currency is gonna go down probably, like in terms of like lyrically he's not gonna go on, but in terms of like what he's done, in terms of like and how he's like and the value, the sheer volume of music that he's been able to put out in a really short amount of time is really, really fucking incredible.
It's craziness. You know what I'm saying? Like with Nether Friends or whatever, like, working with him and meeting him, I saw the amount of music that he puts out, like album a week, and you know what I'm saying? He does.
That's crazy.
So that's how like I met Nether Friends. He was working on his project. Well, around when I met him, saying he was working on his project. He was like, you know what I'm saying, like album a week. So, man, he did it. You know what I'm saying? And I wrote on like a large percentage of those albums.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Produced, wrote. You know what I'm saying? Like like featured. You know what I'm saying? So like 52 albums in a year. Like Think about it. You know what I'm saying?
that's
This nigga's living in a mansion in Texas with a Tesla. It's like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. High value.
you know, so it's just that's the thing. It's like a video game. Like the more, you know what I'm saying, the more pellets you put in the shit, the more opportunity that you have. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, I wrote a lot of that shit, and you know what I'm saying. So. Right, so you do the math. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I don't have to be out here walking around like, hey, I'm a superstar.
Right,
like,
yeah. But you know, but like you said, you know,
exactly. I know.
You know what you did.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, you know. So that's dope, man. And that's really. So you mentioned earlier that you kind of like broke free from like being a slave to like those numbers and those metrics, right? So what really do you think? You being able to work on stuff like that is kind of what helped you break free, or did you break free first and then that led you to be able to do stuff like that?
It's up here. You know what I'm saying? It's here first. It's, you know what I'm saying, mentality switch. You know what I'm saying? But that's just like some adult shit. It's becoming an adult. Like, man, I don't care about none of this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, really.
You really just give less fucks as you get older. Like, it truly, like, you see, like, you used to, like, how, like, old people really just be out here, like, well, our elders own, you know what I'm saying? Like, our elders be out here just really just doing whatever the fuck they want to care about. Now that, I done got into the 40, man, I get it. Yeah, it's like every day I wake up, I give less fucks than I did the day before. You know what I'm saying? And it really is a wonderful feeling. I enjoy it, man. I can't wait till like all the fucks I have are gone.
That's real.
Yeah, that's
real enlightenment right there.
Yeah, man, it's a beautiful place to be. The place of no fucks.
Yeah, hell yeah, that's real shit.
Yeah, man.
And too, like, right, with like the music especially, like when you look at all the mediums, like in music especially, it's like the best shit is when like you don't give a fuck. That's when you make like the best shit.
When you're not trying to appease or like go to like a certain crowd or whatever, you're really just doing what you want. It's just like, hey, if you fuck with it, cool. If you're not, I fuck with it.
Yeah, because it's different like, workflows and shit like that. So you might be like, yo, this has to be like the one. We working on this fucking, like this hit song is gonna be a hit song. And you're mixing that shit forever and ever, and then it turns out to be a dud. You know what I'm saying? When the freestyle one that you did in 10 minutes is the hit. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know.
Yeah.
You never know.
And because it's kind of like that assembly line shit, and like because people want like we was talking about earlier, people want to follow that formula, and some people make a certain thing a hit, and everybody wants to kind of follow that. You know what I'm saying? Instead of really just like, and I mean, art is supposed to be about like expression. You know what I'm saying? And like, but your expression though, not somebody else's shit.
Right. Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like. And I feel like that's really so. It's cool to see you, like, man, like especially how like you evolve from that point. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you've gone through name changes and you know what I'm saying? Like you would say like stylistic changes musically. And I do it like so. We kind of toyed around it, like, but what really? So where was that point, man, where you went from like, all right, you was Super Toy, and now you Surfboard? See, like, did something happen? Did you get into like a car accident or something?
Car accident. Like, that's crazy, bro.
Really?
This nigga.
That's fucking insane.
What the fuck? What just happened, bro?
No, really I was joking like a motherfucker. That's what really happened?
Yeah, it really
was, story time. What happened?
Yeah, it's the real shit, bro. You know what I'm saying? It was a guy, I won't mention him because, like, respect his family and shit. It was a guy, he's like, I'm saying, like a known, like basketball player. And he lost like a relative in like a really bad accident, and it was all over like, like the news and shit. And I was watching that shit like the whole day, like, man, this is crazy. So that shit was on like my mind like the whole day, you know what I'm saying? And that night, I'm driving, I get into an accident. And I'm like, yo, that's it. That is it. If I think about some shit enough, you know what I'm saying? I'll make it happen. Like whatever I want to do, if I obsess over it, you know what I'm saying? And I put in the work, I'll accomplish it. You know what I'm saying? It all changed for me that night. So in like the fucking like recovery, you know what I'm saying? I'm dealing with like medicine and shit like pills or whatever. So I'll take them like occasionally or whatever. And like this one day I was on like a pill, you know what I'm saying, for my back and shit. And we was working on some music and I just said that shit. I was like, Surfboard C, because I was like, I just was out of it.
You was high.
Yeah, exactly. I was high as fuck. And I was like, oh, I kind of like that shit. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, you know, like Pharrell is like my dude.
Right.
So
Right.
it's like, you know, like an homage to him. And just like, you know, I felt as if he had reached a point to where, you know, when he put out like his own album and shit, and he was just like, this shit was like a little bit derivative. You know what I'm saying? I was like, okay, I see what he's doing. Like, he's older. It's like once you get to a point, it's cool, you know what I'm saying, to bite, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Bite other people's shit because he paid his dues. So I was like, man, I'm getting older too. So, you know what I'm saying, I'm biting this nigga, you know what I'm saying? So it just kind of like went from there, man. And yeah, I was in LA and just kind of like, oh, you know, I'm at the beach and shit all, you know what I'm saying, all like the time or whatever, and just, you know, I'm living it up. Like, I just was on that, you know what I'm saying? I just kind of like embodied it. And I was like, oh, yeah, you know, you out there, you know what I'm saying, like you smoking a lot, you know what I'm saying, you by the beach. It just kind of made sense. And, you know, the way I looked at shit changed, you know what I'm saying? I was out there, like, I wanted to work in design and shit like that. And I was kind of like making it happen, you know, pushing, you know, myself in ways that, you know, I never had, I guess, and, you know, doing shit I never imagined I would do, whatever the fuck. And it just kind of just all just made sense, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I was, you know, I guess I bring that up to say, like, you know, because I was like accomplishing shit that I wanted to like accomplish, I mellowed out a lot, like as a person, you know what I'm saying? Because I was on edge because I wanted all this shit and I didn't have it, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, you know, was on edge a lot, and I think I mellowed out at that point. So it just made sense, and like the music I made changed, and like the beats I would pick changed, and you know, people just really took to it, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, oh, okay, this is my wave, you know what I'm saying? Like,
And the rest, as they say, is history.
The rest is history, yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. I feel like I was just on some nigger dumb shit. Well, I guess I didn't necessarily predict the future right there, but I definitely had no fucking idea.
Yeah, it was an accident. It was an accident, man.
Yeah, man, that's wild, man. Well, thankfully, man, you still here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that kind of like, it's funny how, because a lot of things, man, like things happen to us, and they really kind of like, there's like a moment, it's just like everything's before this and it's after that. You know, and then a lot of times, like, it can go in one direction, like, or either direction, I should say. People can go like all the way fucking left, you know, and then or people can go all the way and they can to the other way and they can change for the better.
Yeah.
And it seems like you kind of had like an epiphany in that point.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
For sure.
Almost on some near death experience.
Yeah,
Shit.
for sure. I couldn't believe, you know, I made it out that shit. For one, I didn't know what happened. You know what I'm saying? You know, I'm just driving along, and I still hear like the metal. You know what I'm saying? Like collide. I still can hear that shit in my head sometimes. It was just like bink. Then you know, I'm spinning around in traffic and shit. Yeah. So like anything could have happened. You know what I'm saying?
That's crazy. Was this when you was in Cali?
Yeah, it was.
So what made you move? What made you take that move to Cali, man? What made you take that leap?
Man, you know what? I wanted to move there. You know, when we did like the internship. You know what I'm saying? I was working with a girl who they got a job at like another like production company or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So she you know, put me on. You know what I'm saying? So I was working over there with them, and that was like a bad time in the fucking like economy and shit.
Yeah,
so
2008 was a fucked up year.
Yeah, so they went, you know what I'm saying, like out of business, or they were like, yeah, we go, you know what I'm saying, like, you can split this up. So, you know, we moving to Connecticut.
Okay.
And there was some people who wanted to move, you know what I'm saying, to like Connecticut, and then, you know what I'm saying, like the West Coast, like, you know what I'm saying, as well. So I was like, okay, I don't know, you know what I'm saying? So, but at that point, I was thinking, like, I could move, you know what I'm saying? But then I had a kid. So I'm like, oh, I'm fucked. Like, I'm just here now, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But then, but you know, I was like a dad. I was like a new dad and everything, and just it was just a weird time in the fucking like economy. It just wasn't happening. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't making no bread. I was working like a shit job at that building, at the one up the street.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're right.
You know,
I remember that. Yeah, that's
so,
crazy.
Yeah, I was working, you know what I'm saying, man? Working like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, that was like a shit job, you know what I'm saying? And I started dating like a girl, and, you know, and I don't know, we had, you know, our period to where we were here and shit like that. And she was like a model and everything like that. And so she had,
just light flex. Like she was
yeah,
just,
no,
this model that I was
this is a
fucking
big part of the
with.
story though.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I guess her booking agent or whatever shit like was in LA. So they were like attempting to get her to move out there. And eventually like she bit. It was like we had like apartment and shit. It was like, you know what I'm saying, winter, and it just was real, you know, pipes was, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know how Chicago gets.
Yeah.
And it just broke
Chicago
us, like,
winter and Devin, niggas say they gonna move every winter.
Yeah,
Joe.
it just kind of,
like every winter in Chicago, like, man, fuck this shit. I'm going.
Exactly, man.
Niggas, I'm going to Atlanta. You know what I'm saying?
So it just broke us, man. So she moved like to LA and shit. And I was like, man, you know, I want to be with you. And I ain't doing shit here. You know what I'm saying? Like, so let me go. You know what I'm saying? So I moved out there as well.
That shit ain't work out though, did it?
It did and it didn't. Our relationship, I mean, we broke up eventually, but being there, I don't know, it was good. I mean, we had good times, and being out there, man, it really helped me to like, I'm saying, you know, I guess it really helped me to reinvigorate like, you know, like my career and shit like that. And I don't know, it was just a vibe, man. It was like, oh yeah, this is where like I'm meant to be. In that time period of my life, that was where I was meant to be. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I moved out there just, you know, it really was like a mixture of the two. Like I wanted to be with her, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, like obviously, but I just was looking at Chicago like, man, I'm not doing too much anything here that like I want to do. You know what I'm saying? I got like kid, you know what I mean? But I don't really, you know what I'm saying? Like career wise, I was just like, man, I need to be like, you know, doing like a lot better than I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I just needed like a new opportunity. You know what I'm saying? So I just went for it.
Nice. How long were you out there?
Man, maybe I moved out there 2013, I think it was. I moved back in like 2021.
Oh, so you was out there, yeah. I know you was out there for a nice little minute.
Yeah, I was out there for a minute, man. So that was like, you know, a lot too. Like coming home a lot to visit like the family and my kid, and you know. But I had like a routine, man, and it kind of just worked for me, man. But I needed to move back at one point, like 'cause it was like the pandemic and shit, and like my grandmother was sick, you know what I'm saying, and like she raised me, so you know she had dementia and everything like that, so you know it was just getting bad, you know what I'm saying. I'm like, yo, I want to be with her, and I want to be there to help, you know what I'm saying, like the family out, you know what I'm saying, with like her caretaking and shit like that. So I came back, and you know what I'm saying, like the kid, you know, was, you know, getting of age to where like he needed me around, like for real, like yo, like you know how that shit goes. So I'm like, you know, like we talked about before, like you know, the way I grew up, like without my dad and shit, I didn't want him to have to experience that. You know what I'm saying? So especially in Chicago, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, man, I gotta, you know, do what I gotta do.
So it's a good transition, man. We were talking about, like, so you went out to LA, but you obviously still had your kid, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, so how do you feel like you being out there, did that affect your relationship with your kid at all? Do you feel like that?
I don't think so. I mean, nah, it's kind of crazy. It didn't, you know what I'm saying? But like I said, I had like a routine. I would come home a lot, you know what I'm saying, to visit him. You know, we talk like every day. You know, he traveled a lot. You know what I'm saying? So I would go like to meet him in places or whatever, and he would like come out there like to visit me. And we just, you know what I'm saying, you know, make memories, man. You know what I'm saying? We had a lot of memories, man, from that time period, and it's crazy. You know, it's people who live with their parents who don't have the memories that we have. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, so yeah, I made it like a priority for us to have like a really good relationship. You know what I'm saying? Because I look at, you know, big picture, man, that's like, you know what I'm saying, like, I don't know, it's currency.
Yeah.
That's like the real currency, man. It's like when he's older, shit, he may have to move in with me or some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? So I really I want us to have like a really good like relationship. So yeah, I made that shit like a priority, like for sure.
So and I know like we've talked, man, about certain things, and I know you mentioned that like you grew up without your pops, and you feel like that really kind of held you back a little bit.
Yeah, in some ways. I mean, it's intangible, obviously, at this point because like you don't know. But I look at certain things and I'm like, oh, I wish I would have known that, or wish I would have had. You know what I'm saying? Because it's hard to pinpoint because like you don't know. It's like an unknown. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I don't know, man. It's just I look at it as my journey, but I guess like the way like to even know the word I'm looking for, but I guess the way to correct that is to be there for my son, so that it isn't like like we're not like repeating like the same shit.
Repeating
like,
those cycles.
Yeah.
So that was gonna be my next question, man. So like, how has that feel like that is like colored or affected the way you raise your kid? You know what I'm saying? In terms of like what you do and how you want to like, and do you ever find yourself like really just, do you ever think you overcompensate, or you really just kind of like just you take it more seriously because you know better?
Yeah, I'm just kind of, at this point I feel like, you know what I'm saying, I'm leaning into just like, on being like on like the level, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I feel like at one point, maybe I did, I was like, doing the most, like whatever he wants, I'll buy it, shit like
Right,
that.
right,
You know what I'm
right.
saying? But these days I'm just like, oh, it's more valuable shit than that, you know what I'm saying? Like the time,
Absolutely,
like together is more valuable.
The time is when, like you say, making those memories, man.
Yeah, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, because a lot of times you can buy shit, especially like when they kids, teenagers, man. They remember some things, but for the most part, man, like a lot of the shit they buy, like it's you know what I'm saying. It doesn't last.
Nope.
You know.
That shit be up under the bed. Like, what the fuck, I pay all this money for these shoes and shit?
Right, yeah.
That
You know what I'm
shit's
saying?
under the
They
bed.
scuffed them bitches up.
Right,
You know what I'm saying? 30 minutes
exactly.
after you didn't bought them,
It's
man.
like, oh my God. So yeah, I just kind of like, yeah, man. I just kind of do that, man. I feel like these days it's about like the time and the memories and what I'm teaching them and like the village. You know what I'm saying? And just like bringing them around like the homies and shit, and you see what I'm about. You know what I'm saying? And work and shit like that is cool too. Like working from home. Like if he's around, he gets to see like this is what I do. You know what I'm saying? He really could, be around for that type of shit. So that's what's important to me, man. Like really just, and teaching them like, okay, if this is where I'm at with it, as a dad, it's like what you could do as a dad is higher.
Right.
And like continue to, push it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yes, that's how I approach it, man. Like, I it's challenging. You know what I'm saying? It's always a challenge. You know what I mean? But yeah, it is what it is, man. It's like I look at all this shit like from the perspective of like when he was a baby, right? And how that shit is just like a blur. Like it's like you look up and it's like a toddler, then it's like a preteen. You know what I'm saying? It's really quick. So I just kind of like I try to like remember that like this shit is just like it's you know what I'm saying, real brief, man. It's, you know what I'm saying, and then
so fleeting, man.
It's gonna be a fucking adult. Yeah,
man. My kid is like she's about to be in high school.
Yeah,
You
it's
know what I'm
crazy.
saying? Like,
I saw the pic you posted of her like a few years ago, and I was like, what? Like this is like an adult almost.
Man,
like this is crazy, bro.
Yeah, bro. Like and then you know what I'm saying, like you said, and I had just, matter of fact, when we first met, she wasn't even born yet.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like she was just I was just about to have her.
Wow.
And then man, now she's about to be in high school, man. It's so crazy how quick that time flies, man, and how fucking expensive they can be.
Right, exactly. I'm like, damn, bro.
I can't wait for you to get a motherfucking job.
Seriously.
Yeah, man. But it's also like, so do you talk about your son gets to be able to watch you do? Has he like kind of picked up on any of that? Do you see any of that?
Oh yeah, he's super creative, man. He's into like the music. You know what I'm saying? He's really talented in terms of like his writing, and you know what I'm saying. He's you know what I'm saying, like dope on the mic.
Yeah.
And he sees me do like a bunch of like creative shit, like photography and you know what I'm saying, like video shit. So he picks up on that. He's been doing like a bunch of like photography. His shit is like really good.
Cause I thought I saw you post something a little while ago, and he's like you looking like little coleslaw or something. Was that
Yeah, man. He's like a rapper, man. He you know what I'm saying. He's nice with the shit, but I leave it be. You know what I'm saying. I just like support like whatever he's into in the moment. I just support it. You know what I'm saying. And these days he's trying to hoop. He's really into that. So I kind of just support it. But he's really creative. But for me, I just want him to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, because he wants to do it, opposed to me attempting to push him into it. Because I'm creative. His mom is real creative too. So
so you get it from both sides.
Yeah. So it's like he's gonna be lit like either way. So he's just on like a journey at the moment.
So I want to ask you, man. So you were out in LA for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously born and raised in Chicago, Wild Hunters. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Roseland.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Wild Hunters. But then you moved out to LA for a while, and now you back. But you were always doing music during that time. So I just like when you talk about like the music in the scene and everything you did in Chicago in comparison to how it is in LA, like what are the biggest differences that you can see? And like what did the different environments shape how you created during those times?
Oh yeah, for sure. Man, in terms of like the scene, it's really interesting, man, because people, it's not better or worse, but just like this is like a difference I notice, and everybody can see it, like obviously these days. But like in Chicago, people are rapping, what I'm saying, producing, making art, whatever. Right. You know what I'm saying? In Los Angeles, like, it's like, the musicianship is a big part of like the culture. So like niggas in the hood, you know what I'm saying, nigga like pull up with like, you know what I'm saying, like a tuba or some shit, like like for real.
Like you niggas playing tubas?
Right. So it's like, oh, that's
like I thought it was only a nigga in the Roots. I thought the dude in the Roots was the only black dude that played the tuba.
Exactly. So it's like, oh, that's interesting. You know what I'm saying? Because that's like a big part of the culture out there. Like, niggas is real musicians, and they'll be like, you know what I'm saying, but hood niggas like real. So that's like really crazy to see. And like you look at like the scene, you know what I'm saying, like, like the Kendrick albums and all that shit and all these dudes he's playing with, these are real hitters, man. Like, and he's like a regular ass people from the hood, you know what I'm saying, who just became like amazing like musicians and shit like that. So
I mean, it's a lot of hood nigga musicians in Chicago too.
Of course. Oh yeah, I'm not saying it's better or worse. That's what I'm saying. But it's just like, oh, this is like a big part of the culture. Yeah. Like in a way that I've never really observed here. Apart from that, like I don't know, man. It's black people are black everywhere, man. So that was the thing, like I guess I noticed. Originally like when I moved there, I was like, man, like the culture there, like the black culture and shit, is very similar to like Chicago. You know what I'm saying? Like, very similar. It's the same. It's the motives, I guess, for. For people like, being there. It's pretty much what it was in Chicago. Like, people are looking for a place to work and raise a family and shit.
Yeah, looking for a better life.
Yeah, so it's that type of energy, man. Like, so it's like, oh, yeah, I felt very, like I say, I felt comfortable there, like, immediately. And I was like, oh, yeah, this is where I'm meant to be. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, as far as art and shit like that, yeah, it's people say, Chicago, people, like we hate on each other or whatever. I don't know, but I would say out there it is a bit more like supportive in terms of like amongst the people or whatever. But I got a lot of support here too, so that's hard to say. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's the thing I've noticed though.
Yeah. So environmentally, in terms of inspiration, like do you feel like those different environments caused you to make different music?
Oh yeah, for sure, man. Just like. Yeah, like I said, you out there, you know, you by the water,
Yeah.
the palm trees, you know what I'm saying? You got the weed, and
It's everywhere.
yeah, it's just like, it just, you know,
It's always sunny and shit.
yeah, it's like the sun, and then you hearing the shit, and you're like, oh, this is not what I, you know what I'm saying? When you like a kid, you know what I'm saying? You like, you know what I'm saying? Like Snoop, like I love Snoop. Whatever the fuck, I'm a kid, I like Snoop.
Right.
And then when like you're in LA and like you hear Snoop, you're like, oh, I get it.
Right.
You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah,
Like this
yeah.
is like some other shit.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
like,
yeah. Like you really feel that
yeah,
vibe.
it's
man.
like
Yeah,
you get
yeah,
it.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
oh, this is what they do. This is like a reason
Yeah.
that the music is the way it is. So yeah, that shit makes like a big difference. It's like, yeah, man, that shit is like different. You know, the energy is different, man. It's more like relaxed. So, you know, I would approach it a bit more relaxed. I'm trying to, you know, I guess like create a vibe opposed to here. You know, I was always like, okay, you know what I'm saying, like bars. You know what I'm saying? I need to hit niggas with bars.
Right.
You know, I might do some shit, you know what I'm saying, like, you know, futuristic shit. I'm super toy.
Right.
I'm gonna do some future, but I'm still gonna hit niggas with bars because, you know, because I come up in the scene.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but also like real like, cause I mean the Chicago hip hop scene, is not always as documented in the part of hip hop history, but especially in terms of lyricism, very competitive.
Yeah.
Very, very, very competitive, man. Like I mean, I'm talking about like especially like in the '90s, man. Like how like the ciphers used to be,
that shit
the
was crazy.
freestyling, the battle rapping, man. Like niggas was coming for people's heads at all fucking times. Like you had to be on your shit.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So like, so definitely bar heavy.
Yeah.
When you talking about coming out from Chicago.
I say niggas, you know what I'm saying, you know, get their ass whooped. You know what I'm saying, for you know what I'm saying, for being, you know, Huff. Like,
Yeah,
like
straight,
I
no,
witnessed that shit.
Yeah, straight like that.
Like,
Yeah.
Get your ass out of here.
Yeah, like, you know what I'm
Like,
saying,
you-
straight, like, kick niggas out the cipher, literally.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
I witnessed that shit. So, you know, when you like experience all that, especially as like a young person.
Yeah. Like,
it's
I'm gonna shut the fuck up till I get good.
Yeah, exactly. So I really want to be, you know what I'm saying, like, you know, like as far as technical ability, I want to be like a really good rapper.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But it's part of like a journey. Like I say, it's not one is better than the other because that's part of what, you know, helps me, you know what I'm saying, today. Like I've got like the technical ability is like a real MC and I can write like whatever, but, you know, I've got that like in my back pocket, like, you know, so.
Yeah, I mean, L.A., Southern Cali, man. I love Cali in general, man. Like I love San Francisco, the Bay Area, man. They got their own vibe, like L.A., and just like, man, being out there on the ocean, it's a different energy, man. Like it's kind of like I know because whenever I'm out there, man, I always got to like the ocean. I always got to go there like very soon.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. And it's like, it's just, you know, we got the lake, right? Lake Michigan, you know, it's nice. But it's like, when you standing in front of the Pacific, like, it's just a different energy, a different level of like, it's like you feel that power of like, there's this sheer mass of this body of water, man. You know what I'm saying? And that energy kind of radiates like all throughout that place, man. You know, it's expensive as fuck.
Yeah, but you know, I don't know. I tend to debate that with people. It's like, it's more, but I mean, what you get more, you know what I'm saying? Especially if you own that, like access to everything. I don't know. It's kind of, at this point, it is out of control, but in general, you know, just in terms of the principle, it's like, I'm willing to pay more if I get more. You know what I'm saying? And like, it's just an energy that's hard to recreate. You know what I'm saying? It's really like you say, the water and the mountains and all that shit is like, it's like for me, it's almost like like religion.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying, in a way.
It's definitely one because like it's not everywhere that you can get like the city, the ocean, and fucking mountains.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like you have like all these different landscapes.
Nuts.
You know, and then you go, and then not too far, you can even go to the fucking desert if you so choose.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like it really is kind of like there's so many different environments like right in this kind of like, you know what I'm saying, a few hours within each other. You know what I mean? And I just remember, man, I used to go out to LA a lot for work, and man, they used to put me up in the Intercontinental. I used to stay in Studio City.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Bro, I'm talking about, man, I be out there high side, man. I forget that I was broke and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
like I'm waking up in this fucking suite every day. I got 2 balconies, you know what I'm saying? I open up the doors like Prince Hakeem and shit. I'm seeing the Hollywood sign. It's sunny outside. You know what I mean?
Life.
Yeah, and I was just like, man, so I understand why motherfuckers live it. I understand why people want to come out here, man. Like that is beautiful, you know.
Yeah, just the access, man. Like I said, it's dope. You know what I'm saying? And then you got the creative energy. I guess the thing I like about it, just in terms of, I guess like career shit, even like for me, but just people who want to be in the business, want to be like in movies and commercials and shit. Like I see people, you know, I guess to really like accomplish that shit, and that's like inspiring as fuck. You know what I'm saying? Like you work with a nigga. It's like, yeah, I'm trying to be in commercials, and then a month later, this nigga's in the commercial. Like on TV, it's like, what? Like that just happened? And just like
that nigga in the State Farm commercial.
Exactly. Like I noticed it. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
So it's just like, yeah, I like that, man. It's just like I like that feeling of like, being around people who are like accomplishing the shit they want to accomplish. Man, that shit really inspires me. You know what I'm saying?
That's what's up, man. So what's next, man? Like what's Surfboard C doing now, man? What's on the horizon?
Next, I mean, I've been working on like a bunch of shit, man. I probably got like a few albums in like the can. You know what I'm saying? Maybe like polish them up a little bit, but just kind of like big picture, man. Just like I say, I'm here. Just I guess I'm reinvigorating my approach to art and being creative as a professional. You know what I'm saying? Really like, doing the shit, trying to, just say, you know what? Like I'm an artist and this is what I want to do. And really being on top of like the business of being like an artist, put myself in a position to really, succeed and like help other people succeed. So that's what like I like to do these days, man. I'm always like willing to like, advise artists and shit like that, and just that's really what I'm on. Like big picture, man. Like the music and shit. I'm designing everything, and I'm doing shit. I'm doing my thing, like my regular shit. But big picture, I'm looking at it like, okay, like philanthropy is my agenda. Like some way. What I'm saying? Like it may be building like a space for like the kids, or some way to, like I say, like help other artists. What I'm saying? But that's what like I'm focused on at the moment. Yeah.
Surfboard C, love the kids, man.
You got to.
That's beautiful, man. That's beautiful, man. Well, I look forward to that, man. I look forward to all your future endeavors, man. You've always been one of my favorite artists, man.
Oh, thank you.
Like definitely, and I like.
I'm humbled.
Yeah, man. And like I said, you and Ugg, man. Like y'all, you made magic together quite a few times, man.
Yeah,
I think y'all need to like just go ahead and come out with another little. Yeah, man. You know what I'm saying?
We got some work like in the can. You know
okay,
and
yeah,
we do.
Well, bring it out the can, nigga. Bring that shit. You know what I'm saying? Put that shit out there, man. Give it to the people.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
Yeah, man. Well, this has been a pleasure, man. I'm really glad we was able to connect. You know what I mean? Like I'm really glad we was able to do this, man. Like I said, I've always been a huge fan.
Thank you.
You know what I mean? And it's good to see that, like, even though, you know what I'm saying, like, you've been able to achieve a level of success despite maybe not necessarily, like, people, like, seeing it, because it's just, like, you know what I'm saying, because there'd be a lot of people that may not even know who you are for real.
Yeah, that's fine with me.
Yeah, exactly. But like you said, but you know who you are.
Right, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And you, I can see, like, you're very, very comfortable with that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you've never been out here trying to be something that you're not.
Right.
You never was out here trying to be nobody else, man. You just always did your thing, man. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of what, you never really tried to follow no trends or nothing. And I just always admired that about you, man. I'm just really glad I was able to get you on. You know what I'm saying? I'm really glad we was able to do it in UGG space.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like before it closes shop. Like I said, if y'all missed this shit, man, the Mac Blagic experience, man, y'all missed a one of a kind thing. Like, man, I ain't never seen no shit like this before in my life. You know what I'm saying? Like this man's art is just like it's definitely, man, otherworldly, man. But you can still see it on is it Sankofa Waters? Buy Sankofa Waters? BuySankofaWaters.com. I definitely put a link of it. I know I put a link in the last episode. There's going to be a link in this one too. Link to the website, man. So you can go in there and look and buy art. You know, like this shit may be worth a lot more money one day. You know what I'm saying? So you know, it's a good investment, and it's also just cool. Like, look at this shit, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, this. Yeah, you'll see. But my man, Cornell, Surfboard C. It's a pleasure to have you, man. You know what I'm saying? And I really thank you for coming on. Once again, thank you to all of you for watching, supporting, sharing, liking, man. There's so much content out here. So much shit you could be viewing, man. So if you taking the time to view mine, I just always want to express my gratitude and say thanks. And until next time, peace.